Well, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome to the February 24th Historic District Board of Review. Before we get started, we've got two new faces up here. I know you all watch every one of these meetings, so you probably say, who's those two new guys up here? But I'd like to introduce Jared Anderson to my right. He's a new welcome member to the Historic District Board of Review. And Ryan Rogers is right there. Don't let him breathe on you. He's been
That's why I had him sit over there.
yeah, we had him sit down towards the end, though, but no. But welcome, and what we're going to do this evening is we're going to go through some applications. What we'll do is ask you to come up and basically state your name and address. Brenna will do a brief review of what your application is, and then we'll ask you for any comments or clarifications, and then the board, if you got any questions or concerns. And then the audience, if they've got any questions or concerns, then we'll do a what we call a findings of fact, and then we'll do a motion, and then a second, and then we'll vote. And that's pretty simple. So with that, I'll do a roll call. Brenda, do a roll call. Uh-oh.
Brian's already acting.
We don't want to lose you.
Whoa. Okay. Mike Pittman.
Here. How's that?
Sorry. Happy Smith.
Here.
Bill Jewell.
Here.
Kevin McWilliams.
Pardon me? Here.
Sorry. Brian Rogers.
Here.
Jared Anderson.
Here.
Jed Skillman.
Here. Okay.
He's running to get masked
Yeah.
for everybody.
Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes except for the two new guys?
No,
I moved,
I didn't see them. I didn't know they were even posted. I checked this morning and they went up.
they've always been there.
Check your computer. I think, did everybody else get them?
Yes.
I got it.
Okay.
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
I second.
Have a motion and a second? Can we have a roll call vote yet?
Yes.
Good.
Mike Pittman.
Approve?
Happy Smith.
Approved.
Bill Jewell.
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approved.
Will abstain. You too. Thank you. And Jed.
You can abstain me.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, our first application this evening is from Daniel Duran, 412 East 3rd Street. Come on up to the podium, state your name and address.
Daniel Duran, 412 and 414 East 3rd Street.
Okay. Brenna?
So, this is a contributing structure to row houses. So the two that he owns are the yellow one and the gray one, but the one we are looking at tonight is the gray one. It is an 1840s federal-style building located in the Central Business District, and he is here to see about extending his stairs to help kind of make them less steep. And we've got some pictures here. So this is what they look like now.
Last week.
And these are the neighbors, which he now owns as well, that he wants them to look like. And then I also have, he just sent me some pictures. So let me get those
Brenna.
here.
Nice picture of his house, Brenna.
Yeah.
Great view.
Great view from there, don't you?
We did have
Go
a
ahead
flood.
and start talking while I get these.
So what I was hoping to accomplish is the rise on the steps is really, really steep. They're uneven as far as from step to step. There is some cracking. The house to the left that we bought has, you can see where they tore it out years ago, and they extended it out. I think Brian said we're allowed to come up. We've got to be like 40 inches from the street is what he had said, and that's kind of where the steps are next door. So we're hoping to tear all that out. And the mason that I've hired to retuck point and take care of everything has said that he can put all those steps back in brick and make them match the property next door. And then having Madison Iron Works create new railings for that new staircase as well.
Okay.
You can see the difference here between the two. The gray steps in the front are at 412. Those are the ones we're hoping to tear out. And you can see how much further the other ones extend out, and they still leave enough room for passage on the sidewalk.
The other pictures that I have are very similar to the other two, so we'll just that, for those.
Any questions from the board?
The day I did my inspection tour, I just happened to pull up in one of those houses, and the people in the tenants in there pulled up ahead of me, got out, went up the steps. The man had no trouble, but the woman, you could see her working on it. They were inside. I was still making a note here. They were inside a minute, and they came back out. He came down the steps, and then it's a little dangerous. So I see your point.
This is really a wonderful, sweet, set of houses. It's just iconic, historic Madison. So congratulations on your wonderful property, and I think it's a great project.
Thank you.
I got one request. When I looked at the steps, the ones in the subject house, they have a little flare around the end of them like that. Gives them a little style. If you can, put something like that back in.
I've asked Steve to make it.
Yeah,
nice.
rather than just functional steps, they got a little bit of extra thrown in.
And another thing we're hoping to do, there's an archway to the right of 412. And there's old hardware that's there, and I'd like to come back before the board if Madison Ironworks can do it and create the gate that was once there, just to give a little bit more aesthetic right there. I thought
Sure.
that would be neat, so.
That would be cool. Anything else? This is more a question for the building inspector. Are we okay on the height as far as the,
Yeah, and everything will be ADA compliant, like
Okay.
I said, we'll have plenty of room for wheelchairs and everyone to get up and down.
Cool.
The sidewalk as well when he comes out his projection.
okay. All righty. Okay, do we have findings of fact?
No?
Oh, sorry. Oh, comments from the public?
And I'll do findings for you, since it's easy.
And findings of fact, can you handle it?
It's kind of tough, sir, kind of tough. So we read from the guidelines that the Department of Interiors has given out, and so we have a section 10, fire escapes and exterior stairs, page 62, and two of the bullets meet your project. Number 1, 10.1, meet accessibility and life-saving building code requirements. And number 2, consult with code officials to identify superior effectiveness of meeting safety code. And so this project meets the guidelines.
Bill, you agree?
I agree.
Jared, you agree?
I agree.
I definitely agree.
And I also agree. I'll entertain a motion.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Daniel Duran for his steps at 412 East Third.
Do we have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, Brenna?
Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Howdy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
You'll get your certificate in the mail, and as far as we're concerned, you can go ahead and start. If it doesn't, we don't get 6 more inches of snow.
I thank you so much. Just one other question on.
Sure.
I noticed in some of the other homes above the windows and doors, they have the decorative cornices that are coming out that really add some depth to it. That's something that also I can come back and apply for? Is that something that doesn't need the approval? I was just curious.
No, it would, it's not appropriate for a federal home.
Yeah, you need to come back and get
Okay.
approval. We need to see the design and that type of thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
consult with Brenda if that's a good idea for your property.
Perfect.
You usually don't find those on your era home.
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure it's appropriate. We're doing the colors all appropriate and everything too. I was just curious, so. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
taking on the project. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
no, great. Good luck.
Our next application is from J.D. Webster, 1090 West Second Street. Your name and address, sir?
Thanks for having me tonight. J.D. Webster, 1090, even though it's wrong on yours, well, it's right there, but it was wrong on the entry slide. But anyway, as you can see, we own a storage building there now currently. We purchased it about 15 years ago, and we're going to add a second one, or that's what we're asking your permission to do, is to add a second one. It's going to look exactly like the one you see there on the other side of the building, setting at the same angle, same size, 36 by 60 for personal storage.
Okay, Brenda, you want to give that was a pretty good description.
Yeah.
Anything to
Yeah,
add,
you
Brenda?
pretty much covered that. Non-contributing, it's about 1990s. And this is in the heavy manufacturing district. And yeah, it'll be identical and right next door. So this is the one that's there. It'll look just like that in that open space there.
And it's to the right as you're going west, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, all right. That's the nicest thing you've called me.
Thank you, sir.
The day's young, sir.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, Bill, will you take us through findings of fact?
I sure will. We start at page 101. Now, before I go through these, the building that you're proposing is very similar. It looks exactly like the one you're there with. It, I think, is going to be built on the right side as you're looking at the existing garage.
That's correct.
I've gone down through there. I've looked at the design. The design looks fine. It's capable of, what you've been doing. The new garage is sited, we think, correctly. I don't think you're blocking anybody's view. You're back in there like you should be. You're not reconstructing a garage, so 24-3 doesn't matter. 24-4, the outbuilding shall retain a proportional mass and all to what you have there. It's identical. The material looks like it's fine you're using in your new garage. I don't see that you're going to have any problem with eaves and roof ridges, that kind of thing. Looks to me like you're going to satisfy the requirements for this new building. So I think that we should approve it.
Ken?
I agree, same reasons.
Jed?
I agree.
Roger? Ryan?
I agree.
Abby?
I agree.
And Jared?
I agree.
And I also agree. Didn't think it'd be easy, did you?
No, I did not.
We
Sir.
can keep you there.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll do it again. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Mr. J.D. Webster Exalted himself for his second garage is 1090 West Second.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Can we have a roll call vote, Brenna?
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Brian Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Judd Skillman.
Approve.
JD, you'll get your certificate in the mail,
Thank you.
and you can, as the weather holds, you can probably start. Make sure you get your building permit.
Perfect.
It's got a
Thank you.
roof on it. Thank you. Okay, our next application is from Tony Steinhardt, 206 West First.
Give us just a second. He's in the meeting next door.
Should we go on to the next one?
No, he'll be here.
Tell him we charge by the minute. Don't sit down.
Good evening.
Your name and address, sir?
Yeah, Tony Steinhardt, 221 West First Street, Madison.
Okay, Brenna, you'll give us a brief description?
Okay, so this one's kind of a weird one because according to the survey, it is a 1980s structure that is non-contributing. However, further investigation that Tony did, it was discovered that it's actually a 1930s barrack from Freeman Field in Seymour.
Oh, cool.
So, technically it is not contributing, but it is a historic structure. And the request is to add small fixed windows in the living space, replace the single door on the ground level with French doors, add a garage door on the first floor, and then remove the exterior stairs to the second floor. And then we have some floor plans and pictures. So this is the ground floor, and this is the second.
I would just add that I would have thought, I knew there was some old siding under it, but it was Dutch lap siding. I talked to the previous owners, the Goodman family, who started Madison Chemical in that building, and found that Mr. Goodman, grandfather Mr. Goodman, and his uncle went to Freeman Field, much as many military bases around the country. If you provided labor, you could take a building down and keep the materials, and that's what they did in the late 40s. So that building was moved, that lot was vacant for a number of years, and they built on top of the stone, a vacant foundation with cinder block, and then put that building on top. So we're going to keep the Dutch lap siding and at least acknowledge that heritage there, and then do what Brenna said we were doing.
Any questions from the board?
Your stone foundation, what's that look like? Do you see that from the inside as well?
No, you do not. They poured a concrete wall foundation inside.
So maybe, that might perhaps be, other than the moved old part, the stone foundation might be one of the most historic things about the property.
Yes, it is, and we're planning on keeping that.
You're going to put the garage door right there, so that's going to necessitate some cutting through that stone.
There will be, yes, and we'll reuse the stone to fill in the other areas that have cinder block.
Right, there's
Some
cinder block
areas,
parts.
between that and the Dutch lap siding, so that it all looks the way.
On your drawings, and this might just be an artifact of the drawings, the stone here looked a little bit like that faux stone, that comes.
Yeah, it's not intended to be that.
You're not going to use that
yeah,
faux stone.
No,
Okay.
it will be the existing stone, and we'll reuse that to fill in.
Yeah, it looks like a great project.
I assume you're out of the floodplain, right?
No, this one's not. Long way away. We hope.
This week, it's out of the floodplain.
Let's hope for a long time.
Last week, not so much.
Tony, on the eastern side, is there any window over there that's going to, there you
Yeah,
go.
there's-
Well,
there's
I mean, you have a neat park to look out on that side.
Yeah, there's, basically, there'll be a window in the living area and then a window in the bedroom.
Okay, and then there's a walkway of about like 5 feet wide between the house.
There's
And the
actually
park.
only about 1.5 feet
Oh.
of property that, although there is a gangway there that used to be between the high school and this building
Okay.
at one point, there's only about a foot and a half of property.
Okay. That's it. I was thinking there's something you can do because it's such a
It
pleasant
certainly
park.
would be nice, but that's
Not
not.
much to work
not
with.
property.
Yep.
Just to make a comment, I definitely appreciate you taking on this project.
Thank you. Yeah,
I think we all do.
it's been a while, been a long time coming. Vacant for about 30 years.
Wow. Anything else? Happy, would you do findings of fact for us?
Sure. The first part we go to in the guidelines is design guidelines for doors and entrances, and 9.1, retain and preserve original doors and entrances. You're actually doing even better. You're kind of replacing vinyl windows with more approved windows. Maintain and preserve original doors. I think you are doing that in most cases. You're repairing damaged foundation, damaged siding. You are not enclosing or concealing an original door opening. If historic doors are missing or damaged, that doesn't apply. Never create a new door opening where none existed. You are actually doing this with your garage door. However, you are working with a non-contributing structure that really, is really being restored to viable use, so I think can make an exception there. Use storm doors, I don't think that applies. Screen doors doesn't apply. Security doors doesn't apply. So I think you're in compliance with everything in the guidelines.
Jed, do you agree?
I agree.
Ryan?
I agree.
Jed? Or
Yep.
Jared?
Yeah, I agree.
Jared, I'm going to mess that up. Bill?
I agree.
And Ken?
I agree.
And I'm going to agree too.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Do we have a motion?
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Tony Steinhardt for 206 West First Street for the proposed windows, doors, siding, garage door, French doors for the entire project, located at 209 West First Street. That's it.
Do we have a second?
Oh,
206.
206, sorry, 206 West First Street.
Second?
You have a second from Ken? Can we get a roll call vote?
Okay, Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Thank you.
Tony, you won't get your certificate in the mail. You can just pick it up from Brenda's office. Okay, our next application, Christian Hansen, 500 West Third Street.
Hello to everyone, thank you for having me. I'm Christian Hansen, I'm representing the City of Madison Parks Department at 500 West Third Street, which is John Paul Park. We're trying to bring adult softball back downtown, and we have new slabs, but they're not under cover. So I'm proposing to add a couple of dugout covers. I have a drawing that I submitted, it wasn't very good.
I colored over it so we can see.
It's basically, we've got steel post, we chose to do square steel instead of round, so it looks a little bit better. Black steel post, black metal roofing, and treated lumber framing. It'll be open on all sides. We'll have a treated lumber bench in the back of it. I don't want to say this is a piecemeal, I don't know if you're aware, but there's a committee that I'm involved on for John Paul Park, and there's possible renovations in the process. That includes all of this. We're just trying to get it to where we can use the facilities. So I'm not set on except for the steel post, I already have those. I'm not set on materials, so any suggestions, what you want, I can do. It's a pretty easy project, there's just two of them.
Do we know what the material was before for the roofs?
Nothing.
There wasn't one?
I don't believe in the last
Last one?
20 years, I don't think there's been covers.
Okay. I walk by that every day with the dog. You'd think I'd know, wouldn't you?
Well, I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't recall ever seeing any covers.
Okay.
Mr.
Well,
Hanson.
on the first base side, I do take that back because there was a press box and a concession stand area. So the press box was over top of the first base dugout.
Okay.
The third base dugout had no cover.
It wasn't crazy.
Yeah, Mr. Hanson,
Yes, sir.
did you get approval to put those slabs in?
That was before my time.
Good answer.
I did not.
Otherwise, you'd been out.
That was done. I've inherited that.
That's fine.
That's called yanking your chain, Christian.
Well, it's not me, it's all those women he has to deal with for the park, renovation.
They're, no, they did not, and I plan to attach to it, so I hope they were done correctly. I'm going to bolt to them.
Yeah, I guess my concern would be if the wind resistance and that type of thing, making sure that because granted, I mean, you're down in the valley, but we get some pretty good wind coming up through
Yeah,
Crooked
that is a
Creek.
concern. That's why I went with 3 posts. We're spanning
Okay.
around 18 feet, so with 3 posts.
Okay.
4 bolts per. That was a concern of mine, but I
Good.
hopefully it will. And I left it open in the back, so it will have
Go
air
through.
flow through.
Okay.
You're gonna have hurricane clips tying them, tying things down to the beam.
Hopefully, we don't have to worry about that. We've been through the flood stage, so.
See the
Well,
shaking
they're,
head?
they're easy to put on and they don't cost much. Yeah, little hurricane. Yeah. Make sure that thing doesn't lift up.
Any questions from?
No.
This end? Okay. Let's see. Jed, you want to take us through finding the fact?
Okay. Finding of fact, gazebos and pergolas should be constructed of wood and painted in colors that complement the accompanying
painted.
building. True. Okay. Gazebos and pergolas should not obscure views or damage historic structures or adjoining buildings, and you definitely do that. Gazebos and pergolas should be located out of or with limited public view. Well, if you're a baseball fan, you're used to looking at the top of a dugout. Swimming pools and fountains, that's not here. Plants and/or fencing should be used to screen views of pools. Well, we don't have that either, so you found, everything's fine.
Ryan, do you agree?
I agree.
Happy?
I agree.
Jared?
I agree.
I agree.
And Bill?
I agree.
And I also agree, and I think it's a great project, and you'll make a lot of people happy with that. I'm
Hope so.
tickled that city's investing that money in that. Could we have a motion, please?
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to the City of Madison Park Department for the dugout covers.
Do we have a second?
I second.
And Bill seconded? Roll call vote, Brendan.
Mike Pittman,
Approve?
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Kim McWilliams,
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Scullin.
Approved.
You also have to, well, no, you're in the brown gym.
I'll pick it up.
You'll pick it up, all right. You'll get your C of A. Make sure you talk to building inspector. I think he's got something about hurricane clips that, he's gonna keep an eye on you.
Make sure his check's good.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Christian.
Good night.
Appreciate you coming in. Okay, our next application is Royer Corporation, certificate of appropriateness to add an addition to the north side.
He's bringing pictures. Thank God.
Your name and address, sir?
Zach Zarin, 1548 East State Road 250, work at Roy Corporation at 805 East Street.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your time.
So,
Brenna.
this is Royer, it's a non-contributing structure. The original building was built in the 1990s. This is light manufacturing M1, and this is to add an addition
Yes.
on the north side of the existing structure.
What are we doing here?
So I can dive in anytime here.
You can dive in, go ahead.
You can kind of see there's a slight break in the color here, but the original warehouse was put on, there was an addition done and started in 2018, finished in 2019. So you can kind of see the break here. Right here, this line, so that's the existing warehouse. This is what we're looking to get approved today. So the existing warehouse that is there is roughly 7,000 square feet. This addition would be an additional 9,000 square foot of warehousing space. Total pallet space of this would give us an addition would be 806 pallet spaces. It also adds an additional 2 shipping docks. Currently, we just have 2 shipping docks that are on the north end. It would be on the wall that's hidden in this. So, currently, we've been pretty blessed with growth over the last few years. It's been with current customers as well as the acquisition of 2 very large customers. One you guys might be familiar with, Ring Pop. So, we're doing roughly 4 to 5 more trucks a week than we've been doing in the past 3 or 4 years.
Good for you.
The additional 2 shipping docks is very crucial for us as well. But the warehousing space, currently Royer's utilizing, I believe, 3 different third-party warehousing storage spaces in Madison. We actually have been looking at utilizing the mega caverns. They have some storage space down there in Louisville as well. So that's what I got.
Those are
I
good
actually
kind
had a
of
whole
problems.
speech. My boss told me I had to come over here and give a speech, so I'll spare you guys the speech, but any questions?
No, keep going. We want to hear your speech.
That's all right.
So we're looking at the east setting there, and the little section is the north
Yes,
of
sir.
that picture, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So this side here is north. The shipping docks are on the east wall.
Right, good.
Which is Currently, our trucks have exited north. They've had to pull in the parking lot and then back up. I'm sure you guys have probably got complaints from our neighbors of trucks pulling into yards in the past, trying to make that swing. It's pretty tight for a 26-foot FTL. So this way, they can actually just pull in the road and back up without having to impede on any of our neighbors' land.
When I was there, and I looked at this property twice, because it was kind of, the paperwork, as I saw it, was kind of a jumble, and if I had to enlarge something, and then it's dots, and I can't read it and all that. But there's a orange line spray painted right into the parking lot on the, is that where the wall's going to be?
That's actually the edge of our building, yes, sir.
Okay. So then there's about, it looks like there's about 20 feet left over until you get to the end of the asphalt. And that's, so somebody has the access to their garage.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
gotcha.
It's exactly 20 feet. That's good.
Okay.
Very good eye.
Oh. That's about what I have to say right now.
Any other questions? No. Bill, would you like to try findings of fact for us?
I sure would. The finding of facts on this, for a new addition is, I don't think really comes into our guidelines all that much. You're non-contributing, you're an industrial facility. We're not able to locate the new addition necessarily at the back. That'd be pretty difficult for your site. There's no room, it's an alley in the back. The overall proportions seem fine. It's about like what you have there. You're duplicating it. The design elements, very similar. If it's there already, I think we're good. The additions should be constructed so they could be removed. Now, I think this really has more to do with a home than with an actual business, because nobody is really talking about removing these. So I don't really think that applies. Roof lines look fine. Foundation, I'm sure, is going to be what you've got there. I don't have any problem with an okay on this particular application.
Ken?
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Right.
Wait for the.
Agree.
Agree.
Jared.
I agree.
And I agree for the same reasons, and I thank you for keep investing in Madison.
I know.
It's a great company, so.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for not having to hear my speech.
Oh, no, you're not, no, you can't.
Don't leave yet. We gotta do a roll call vote. We gotta vote on it yet.
This is going to go down fast.
Do you have a movement?
We have a motion?
Go ahead, Bill.
I will. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board grant a certificate of appropriateness to the Royer Corporation for the new building addition at 805 East Street in Madison, Indiana. And I think that's about it.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Gonna give it to Jared.
Yeah, he's a newbie. Yeah, let the new guy have it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, roll call vote, please, Brenna.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
I approve.
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Ryan Rogers,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
You'll be getting your certificate of appropriateness in the mail, and I'm sure that guy will be involved, will be giving you a call and checking it. But again, thank you very much for the investment you guys made in Madison.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
No, that's good.
New old business.
I have new business. So we got a show and tell up here. Maybe everybody can see this beautiful window. This window sash came out of a 1840s Federal on East Second in one of the oldest platted parts of Madison just this morning. This window's in great shape. It doesn't even need glazing or painting. There's no rot. All 5 historic windows were torn out this morning and have been replaced with modern windows. So here's what I'd like to have us think about for new business. In past years, this particular window replacement project would have come before the HDBR. We would have deliberated the pros and cons of replacing these windows, but we've tweaked our procedures and some decisions now come before staff. This was done with the best of intentions, to save the public from unnecessary time, costly review. We have an excellent staff, we have a good hardworking board, and everybody, Mayor Courtney on down, is focused on the same goal, the preservation of our historic district. But now, often, the historic board does not have oversight over things that matter most to our historic district, and is spending time on things that are not critical to the historic district. We saw the result of this tonight. Staff, public, and the historic district board spending time on concrete step repair and dugout covers. These are valuable and good improvements, but maybe not so pertinent to the intactness of the historic district. I think really everybody is working very hard and following all the rules, but I'm wondering if it's time for a procedural reassessment. We all want to make sure that our historic buildings get the time and attention from this review process. What we lost this morning in this house was an authentic 1840s facade with well-preserved, functioning historic windows. I don't want our hardworking board and staff to be spending time on things that are not pertinent to our historic district, and then things that are pertinent to the preserving of our historic district are lost because of procedural oversight.
Thank you, Happy. And in fact, I don't disagree with you. That window does look very good. I think from my vantage point, I would argue that we would need what I would call an architectural committee. Somebody who would assist Brenna because she's doing quite a few things. And I have no issue, I have no issue with setting up something, maybe get a couple volunteers to set up an architectural committee that would actually assist Brenna in where there's situations where it may be questionable as where the windows are, or windows, doors, whatever. The sad thing is, once they're gone, and you cannot replace them. Hopefully, we can save windows like this, and somebody can build them and use them in their restorations. I mean, that's my hope. And
That is something I would love for us to ask. Glass Unlimited, we prized this one from the Glass Unlimited truck with great difficulty, but they didn't want to give us any of the rest of them because of the old glass, and of course, they sell the old glass, so it's a profit thing for them, so I do understand that. But I do wish we could have some kind of program, and I think a volunteer nonprofit could help with this, not to add more to what the city is already doing. The city's doing a lot, but we could have some program where the windows could be saved and stored. And maybe Glass Unlimited would work with us on that.
we used to have that. I'm trying to think. When I first moved here, there was I don't want to call it a warehouse, but there was a facility that we could go to and look for historic materials. Do you remember that, Ken?
I do not.
Do you remember that back there in the back? No, she doesn't remember either, so maybe I was dreaming it, but there was, in fact, we bought the doors we have on our 701 Elm Street property from a facility, and in fact, they're old federal doors, and we put them back up. So I have no issue with what you're saying, Happy. I hate that happened, but I can see why it could happen, and I think
it's procedures, and I think we
Yeah.
just have kind of moved
Sure.
away, and maybe it's time for a recalibration.
Well, and I think an architectural committee, someone from the board, maybe someone from outside the board, I know, that way we don't violate any state rules or on things like that, on talking to an applicant or talking about an application before it comes before the board.
Well, I don't, as I'm understanding it, I mean, how many times have we had people before us that want to change the windows, and then we go over it, How did this person, how were they allowed to take the windows out without coming before us? Because that's right in our main wheelhouse here.
We voted, I believe it's a staff approval now.
Yeah,
It can
the
be a staff
materials that
approval.
they were replacing the windows with were staff approval. That one did happen before I started. It was back in January of last year. But they were switching to, I believe it was aluminum clad.
So
So
they were switching to what?
to aluminum clad
Which
wood
is
windows. So that is considered staff approval based on the materials.
And when did that happen?
It was approved, I think February 1st of 2024.
Okay.
So that was before me.
Mm-hmm.
I think a similar thing's been happening with wood siding, so if people come and say, we want to put hardy board siding on a building, then the aluminum siding or the asbestos comes off, and then if there's wood underneath, you know, it often does look like it would be tough to restore, so then, and because they're doing hardy board siding, that is a desired, you know, good replacement material. So then the wood siding comes off, and I think before, it was almost like you had protected that wood siding. It's like you'd mothballed it underneath that asbestos siding. Now with hardy board, I think generally, and I don't know why construction-wise, but generally, I think the hardy board, they take off the old wood siding and put the hardy board on. So in a way, we are really kind of damaging, I think, some of our wood frame structures also. Same sort of issue where we're not having the real assessment of what's under there. You know, for lack of time, lack of resources, everybody here is really trying to do the right thing. It's just, I think, you know, some procedural readjustment maybe.
Well, I would recommend we look at doing an architectural committee. We can bring that up with some additions. So I think that would be a good move. Thank you, Happy, for bringing that to our attention. And I can tell you, if you've seen one project, you've seen one. So every project's going to be different. And unfortunately, we live in a very bug-friendly, moisture-friendly area. And a lot of the materials that we would love to be able to save are not salvageable. And those of, you know, you've redone houses. I think almost everybody here has redone houses. We try to save what we can. In fact, with the recent Indiana Landmarks seminar we had down here, one of the most valuable things that carpenters and rehabbers look for are old barns, because they tear them down, take the wood, and sell it for a fortune, because you cannot find that old wood. If you can, it's a treasure. So, and unfortunately, they didn't have Terminex or the various termite guys, and we got the moisture and the termites down here. So, but again, you know, I think it's really it takes more than one set of eyes in some situations, because some of these projects are pretty intense, and we'll talk about it. I think I'll talk about it with the city management, and Brenna will get together and see what we can get done. But thank you, Happy, for bringing it to our attention. Okay. Any other new business?
Well, following along this, would we want to consider a workshop where we do not have an agenda of specific projects to talk about, but we talk about issues like this, you know?
I believe that's something that we can attend. In fact, that's one of the things Indiana Landmarks does. They do great workshops, and I would encourage everybody to take advantage of that. I mean, we had a great one here actually in Madison, which we're very fortunate to have. And I would encourage everybody to stay tuned for more, you know, and be looking for it. And your Happy's got one right here.
Historic Madison has a March series of workshops, 4 of them. Loving Your Old House. They're going to have workshops on,
It's the same day every,
they're going to have workshops on thermally modified lumber, storm windows, all of this around historic houses, understanding the importance of historic floor plans, and paint and color types. So that's coming up at Historic Madison, pretty reasonably priced, 4 evenings in March.
Thank you. Good ideas.
Is there anything
Any other
else?
new business? And it's, anybody hears of a historic workshop too, bring it to us. I mean, that's part of what we do. We got the Madison Courier right there to help us get the word out. Any other new business? How about a staff report?
Okay, so this month, we have 5 so far. So we've got, for Shelley Murphy Smith, some pediments on her first story windows to match what was originally there. The ones on the first story have been removed at some point. The ones on the second story are still there, so they will be matching. And she is going to be separating the back porch from the house and then replacing it. She just has to do some brickwork, and that's just so that is documented. It's not visible from the street at all. Catherine Rutherford will be putting some signs that look like paintings outside of her building just to advertise the work that she does. Matt Benzer, he is replacing vinyl windows with aluminum clad. Rachel Headley is replacing the roof with shingles. So I believe right now it's a metal roof, but she has some small like awnings over some of the doors that have shingles, so she'll be matching the whole roof to that because the roof is currently leaking. Daryl May is a sign, and then Addie Davis is replacing her front door. And then
That-
last year, were there questions?
Yeah, excuse
Sure.
me, that Addie Davis, that was on
Yes.
our agenda for tonight.
It
and-
was, that was a misunderstanding on which door was being replaced. So the one that is being replaced has a window, and I thought it did not, thinking it was another door. So the one that she's replacing it with will still have that window, so it ended up being a like for like, which
Is
is
she
staff
replacing the
approval.
front door?
Yes.
So, I talked to Link Luddington and just asked him, because we had thought this was gonna be on the agenda, and he feels that door could really be the original door for that house. The door, he thinks the survey is wrong, that that house is an 1860s house, and he thinks the door is an 1860s door. That is really a very special, unique door. I just hate to see that. That house, it's kind of the facade of that house is made by that door. I hate to see that door go.
So the one that she's replacing it with will be very visually similar. The one that's there has deteriorated. She has had that evaluated. So it is in fairly rough shape, like from the inside. So that's why it's being replaced. But it will look very, very similar to the one that's already there. Were there any other questions on these? Okay. So the ones for last year, that should say 24, sorry. All of them have been completed except for the siding at 611 East. No work has been done there. And then 612 Mulberry has started. So the porch, that was actually the removal of a ramp and the reintroduction of steps. That has been done, but the doors and the windows have not yet. So that's a work in progress still.
Okay, is that it?
That is it.
Anything else?
Let's go back to one thing Happy brought up. So one of the procedures we could change is that if an application comes in to remove asphalt siding and put up hardy board, that there's two steps. That once they take off the surface material, they cannot proceed until they get staff approval. So if they come up and see the planking that's got issues, but it's still serviceable, we should have a thought about that. Shouldn't just let it make a one-step approval.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ken. In fact, I got in big trouble from the historic board way back when, a few years ago, because I pulled off aluminum siding and went and put vinyl siding on a house. And unbeknownst to me, the wood underneath, which was on the house, was pretty bad shape, but they had also had a garage, and we kept the garage. It was redwood siding, and we kept the redwood siding, and we painted it. It's still as good as ever. Of course, we put a second story on it, but it really does. If there is a non-historic covering on a house, we should check what's underneath before we allow it to do that. That's that can be a real blessing and a surprise, because the redwood siding is amazing. I mean, I have not had any trouble at all with it. Had a few holes in it from
Brenda,
the-
do the procedures need to be changed for you to institute, or can you do that yourself?
I will have to check on those. I believe a lot of times for siding, if it is considered an appropriate material, I can do the approvals, but I don't believe that there is like a two-part step for that. So we can definitely look into doing that.
Again, that's where an architectural committee could come out and help you take a look at that and double check it.
Yeah, so I can, if you guys have suggestions for procedural changes, feel free to share them with me, and I can discuss with Tony to see how we can
Sure,
streamline things.
that'd be good.
Thank you.
It seems that we reference the design guidelines quite often, but rarely the law or the ordinance on it. If you read the ordinance, they're pretty clear about how things are supposed to be done. Is that done in these cases at all, or is it just strictly guidelines?
The ordinance is included in the packets that come with it. It's usually for the visual standards, but we can kind of reevaluate those and how it is evaluated for
Okay.
the
For
applicants.
example, like windows and doors, I believe there's a percentage where if it's deteriorated to a certain percentage, then it's acceptable to fix it, but prior to that, it should be repaired. So maybe taking a look at those a little bit deeper.
That's always been a real issue, Ryan, on the board. You know, I think it was 80% deterioration, I think, on the windows, I believe. And that 80% is one man it's 80, another man it's 50, one man it's 30. I mean, and it varies by window, which side of the house
I
they're on.
completely understand, yeah.
So, I
But
mean,
nobody would have disagreed that this is not 80% deteriorated.
I wouldn't. No, that was the problem we have with the folks that are selling replacement materials is they make money selling replacement materials.
Right.
And like you said, Happy, they can also sell the old glass. So,
Yeah, I can't say for sure because I did not do the initial review for this one, but looking at the pictures today, because actually, I was getting calls all day about this project. Looking at some of the pictures for other windows on the structure, they had been significantly deteriorated in other places, so I'm not sure if it was just kind of well, you're doing all the others, so this one gets included or not. That was
We were able
not,
to look at 4 of them, and they look like these. There was a couple busted up in the truck, so a couple of them might have been more deteriorated.
yeah, some of the pictures showed, like the bottoms, of the wood had been either removed at least halfway or was rotting. So I'm not sure if that was what went into that decision, or not, but that is the information that I have on those.
I would like to see the kind of thing, when we're discussing that would appear on some home improvement show, where instead of saying, we let a window company come in and say, let's replace the windows and put aluminum clads in, somebody would come in and say, the rotted mullion here and there, we can cut that out and replace it, and it'll look like the original, and you see that kind of thing. That's kind of the kind of construction I'd really like to see in Madison, is that kind of thing. Of course, that's not cheap, but that's what we would aim at.
well, we're fortunate, Jed, we have a couple of new additions. I won't say who they are. To the board that have quite a bit of experience in rehabbing and
Okay.
historic structures, so it'll be nice to, and some of us have had trial by fire on rehabbing, so I think that's where I don't see the architectural committee as being a static group. In other words, it'll be, hey, Brenna's got a situation where she needs somebody to come in and take a look, or go with her on a site visit and say, hey, can you come with me and take a look at this? Because, it may be, and one of the hardest things is when you do have a building or a structure that's completely covered in asphalt siding, or like my situation was aluminum siding, and I thought, well, hey, it's not a historic material, I can just replace it with a vinyl siding, and that was a big mistake, but I learned. So, and I think we all learn by rehabbing houses. Some of us have formal education, but, see, I'm picking on you already, Jared. But, and experienced by fire down there, and have worked for some of the window companies.
Okay.
And so we've got a very experienced board now, and I'm tickled to death that I think we can, have some ad hoc experts help Brenna. And the main legal thing, though, we have to be very careful of is, we cannot engage in conversation with the homeowner. That's Brenna's role. So, I mean, that's her role. We can talk to Brenna can talk to them, but if they're talking to us, we really can't, we're not supposed to be there for that, so.
I do believe there are some plans to maybe enhance education around rehab for old homes in town, kind of enhancing projects that we already have. So HMI, I believe, is planning to continue doing things like that, and maybe some more formal education opportunities as well, so that hopefully we can get maybe some more specialists working down here, so it's not just shops.
Thank you. Any public questions, comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Jared?
I second that.
So who said it?
No, he's supposed to do the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Newbies. Oh, my
He
goodness.
picks on all the new people.
I don't appreciate that.
No one does.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Those that aren't can stay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the discussion. Good discussion. And we have a hat. I don't know if you want to put that in the paper or not. I don't know if somebody left a hat.